Site content planning. Websites are internet real estate. It's your personal web property. When building a house, it is important to plan things out before you start molding blocks. Likewise, your website. When you want to build a website, it is important to plan before you start building. I like to say that anytime you undertake a task like building a website, building a house, or starting a marketing campaign, whatever you're doing, it is important to spend 2/3 of your time planning and 1/3 of your time actually executing. Far too often, people skip the planning phase in order to save time. But unfortunately, what they come to find at once they get into their project is that without taking the time to plan for executing the project, unforeseen obstacles can pop up, and the builders usually have to reduce some of their work. But when you take time to think through your project before you start implementation, you can usually foresee some of these obstacles and come up with a plan for avoiding them. This will actually save you time, money, and energy in the long run. So number one point is you have to determine the goals for your website. Ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish? Anytime you undertake a project of this magnitude like website design, it is critical that you set goals before you start anything else. Without setting goals before building a website, you are unable to determine what you're looking to accomplish. So you should know what you are looking to accomplish. Why are you building this website? Ask yourself that question. Ask your client that question. Why do you want a website? Because without knowing what you want to accomplish, you will end up building a site that has either too much information, too little information, or possibly the wrong information. So setting goals for your website will allow you to be efficient in the entire process. So you're designing an e-commerce site, probably the aim of your website is to sell products. Or is your aim, are you trying to, is it a squeeze page? Are you trying to generate leads? Are you trying to get people to send their contact information? Are you building the site? Is it primarily for brand awareness, to drive awareness and engagement? Or is it a site for a company that wants to primarily provide support to their existing customers, help them solve problems? Or is it a content publisher? So you need to know what are the website goals. Setting goals doesn't take that much time. Make sure you don't skip this step because it's very, very important. This is where you should start before you design your site, before you do anything, before you select the template you're going to use, before you register your domain name. You should determine the goals for your website because this is what will determine your path. So the next thing you're going to do in the website design process is to pinpoint your target audience. Try to understand what their interests are. How can you provide them with the valuable information they are looking for? So you need to identify the audience. After identifying the goals of the website, you need to know the audience. How can you provide them with the valuable information they are looking for? Who are you building your website for? What are their preferences for reviewing information? Do they like to read content? Would they rather prefer watching videos? So you need to know your audience because your audience will also determine the kind of content you're going to put on your website and your navigational structure. It's going to determine the way you're going to create your layout. Because it's important that you understand your audience. This way you can make sure you tailor-made your content, you tailor-made your design to fit what they would like, to fit their preference. So the next thing you need to know is, what will the call to action be? What will your call to action be? So you need to determine what you want your website visitors to do. Once these people come to your website, once they land on your site, what do you want them to do? The most successful sites have a prominent call to action within their pages. If you don't ask your audience to take action, how can you expect them to do what you want them to do? So without a call to action, you cannot expect to accomplish your website goals. So the first thing was for you to know your goals. The second thing was for you to know your audience. Then the next thing is your call to action. So you need to know what will your call to action be. If one of the goals of your website is to get people to download your ebooks, then one of the call to action must be download our ebook. So if one of the goals of your website is to grow your traffic or make something to go viral, then perhaps another call to action is share this page with a friend. You cannot expect that your website visitors will know what you want them to do if you don't ask them. So be sure to include one or a few call to actions on all your website pages. So you cannot do this if you don't know the aim or the purpose to which you're creating your website. So you should know the aim. For the next thing, you should know your audience, and the next thing you should do what? Know your call to action, and then plan ahead. The next thing is web navigation. You need to figure out how you get your website visitors to easily navigate through your site in order for them to complete your call to action. Because if they don't navigate through your sites, they will not be able to get to or complete your call to action. Too many sites are created without thinking through their navigation. Sometimes you can go to a particular website and you have no clue how to get access to the information you're looking for. That's very bad. That gives a very bad user experience. Why do so many people love Apple products on their websites? Because they are very intuitive. Users can look at an Apple product for the first time and quickly understand how to use the products. So if you take time to think through your navigation before putting your website together, you will find that your website visitors will navigate to the pages you want them to. They will do what you want them to do. So let's go back to the call to action for an ebook. If your call to action for your ebook is, example, download our ebook, you need to make sure that it is very apparent how visitors can find the ebook and download it. Be sure that you don't include too many different pathways all leading to the same page, because this can confuse your visitors and results in what is called paradox of choice, which makes them not to make decisions. You should have a clear-cut flow for them to go through, and the navigation should be apparent. You can interlink pages within the content of your site. If you want visitors to go from your blog to your services page, then be sure to use the content within that blog post to link it to your services page. And also, another very important thing is that when choosing the words to hyperlink to your services page, for example, it will be smart to use keywords from your keyword list. So in the previous chapter, I told you about generating your keywords list. So you just pick some of those keywords and use them as hyperlink, because it's going to assist in your search engine optimization, like we're going to see in the next few videos. So the next thing you want to do is to plan your layout. As you can see, dependent on the purpose of your website, the aim of your website, your target audience, and the content you're expected to put on your website, you can plan your website. Personally, I used to use a piece of paper, draw my layout. This is where I want my menu to be. This is where I want my logo to be. This is where I want my header to be. I'm going to put a slide here. I'm going to put an advert here. I'm going to put another call to action here. I'm going to put my main content here in a tabular form. So I use my pen and biro to draw it first on my paper. It will actually save you a lot of stress. And then, as you can see, you can do this for all the pages. This is the home page. When you click on this About Us button, it takes you to the About Us page, and you click this, it takes you to this. So when you take time to draw and arrange your layout like this, it will save you lots and lots of time in the implementation phase. Another thing you need to know is to check out your competitors. Go to their website and see what they have. There is nothing wrong with spying on your competitors. Check what content they offer that you don't have already, and then improve on it. There's nothing wrong with spying on your competition. Make sure before you design your website, check similar websites. Check similar companies that are offering the same service as you're offering, and try to get 1 or 2 clues from their websites, and then improve on it and create your own. So when you're done with all these things, when you actually know your website objective, you know your target audience, you know what the call to action is going to be, and then you are working on your navigation, you know how your menu is going to be, you now have to assess the content you have. What are the contents that you need? Check them out, then now compare it with what are the contents that you have already. Then the ones that you don't have, go online, look for the contents, and then you can get images. You can go to Google Images to search for images, though you have to be careful so that you don't run into copyright issues, and then bring them together. So by the time you start designing your website, you should already have your content. You should already know the goals of your website. You should already know your target audience. You should already know the navigational structure you're going to use. You should already have this content ready. Then you should compare it with the ones of competitors are using, and then if there's anything that is lacking, you should go online, look for those contents. You need images, go to Google Images, get the images, and then have all your assets ready as you start your design.